Do you have any queries in previous session? Yeah. So till now we have seen all model view controller, partial views, data annotations, and some DB concepts. That is ADO.NET programming. Okay. And the next we will see LinkU. LinkU for language integrated query. Basically, if we have any SQL Server, Oracle, and Excel sheets, MySQL, any database software, we need to filter the data, then we can write queries. Now what we have to do is, we need to write queries from array. We need to write a query from a data set. And we need to write a query from object. That is not possible. We need to use for loop and if conditions, and then only we can filter the data. Now, the Microsoft introduced the LinkU concept. That LinkU will help us to reduce the for loops, if conditions, and round trip to database. Once we get the data, and we can filter in a front end only, whatever we need as per our requirement. Okay. So here the LinkU is a query language. Basically, I think the day I typed a couple of things. So we can write queries from all the below resources: SQL Server, XML document XQuery, and manual coding from object, array, a list. So now this LinkU is a query language provided by the Microsoft within .NET to query the data from different sources. So it is an alternative approach to the developers to simplify their job, means reducing the coding. Now the LinkU can be classified into link to object. That means if we are writing queries from object, that is called as link to object. If we will write query from XML file, then link to XML. If you will write a query from SQL Server, link to SQL. Now MVC, entity model, EDMX file. If you are writing a query inside, then link to entities. So now ADO.NET Entity Framework can be considered as an extension to LinkU to SQL. So ADO.NET coding we have used. Now if we are going to mapping the tables to the front-end application, that is what we call it as entity. It's a new framework. It's a software we need to install for directly mapping our tables to front-end application. So link to SQL means only SQL Server queries related we can write. Link to XML means only XML file we can use and write queries. So it is always compatible to only those resources. And it will be supporting entity different databases. Link to SQL means only SQL Server, but link to entities means you can use the databases from SQL Server, and you can use the databases from Oracle, and you can use the database from MySQL, like different databases. This concept we call it as ORM. ORM. ORM is representing object relational mapping. We have a database in SQL Server. Till now we are using all our manual coding lines, connection, command, adapter, all the things. But now we mapped that table to our front-end application, and we don't write any connection line, command line and all. Directly we can use classes and methods passing the stored procedures on. So this.
What is that? What is that? I didn't get that. Object relational mapping means?
I will explain. This is our design form. This is our coding. And this is our SQL server. So now what we have to do, we have a table inside this. Now we need to project this table here. So for this, what we have to do, we have written all ADO.NET ADO.NET coding. So this is design page, and this is code, and this is DB. So now we have to write the code to the front end, this logic to here and this logic to here. Completely ADO.NET, manual coding, ADO.NET. Now what we have to do, ORM, whenever we are adding a template, this is untyped data set. Untyped means we have given connection, command. At runtime, we are filling into data set and assign to control. Now, in ORM model, this database table directly we are adding to front end. Front end means this table directly mapping. Mapping means while adding, we have to add one special file called it as EDMX. Instead of this ADO.NET, we have here two things. One is add new item. That name is link to SQL. So this link to SQL is a template. Add new item, select web form. In what way we are taking? The same way here, this link to SQL is a template. That means what? Which table, which database you want to connect. Directly, this whole tables, database structures, everything will come to front end. So object relational mapping. Now already this database structure, everything is came to our application. Now every table is acts like a class. And you can create an object to this one and you can call directly columns. Okay, so that means what? Object. But what is the relation with the tables? So we are mapping these tables, columns, everything to our front end only. So only for SQL Server, this is a template. And other than this, any other databases, ADO.NET Entity Model, a separate template we will take, we can add it. That means all tables, relations, everything is created as a class file in front end. So this is a normal ADO.NET approach, and this is entity data model approach. Okay, this is also called as ORM, object relational mapping. Okay, this is. So what is the advantage? This is before only verifying the structure and validating the data here only, and no need of writing all connection lines, command lines and all. While added to here, it will create connection in web.config file. And automatically the class name we can use here in this template. And only we just create a class for DB context and we can call it. Okay, and I'll explain. So what is ORM? It will be allows the developer to perform any database operations with object. Yes. So with object oriented approach, without knowledge of any SQL and all. We are not going to SQL server. We have to filter here. And also we can say reduce DB coding, database coding, apply C# coding more. For this library, this is what we call it as system.data.entity. Okay, yes. So .NET providing set of classes within the system.data.entity to work with entity framework. For this, what are the main classes? Number one, the DB context class. This is acts like a connection class to perform different operations in the database. So class name, that class name will comes as DB context. So internally it is thinking that user is added tables to front end. Now they want the table information. So they are creating a class to DB context class. It acts as a connection class to perform different operations with DB. So what it internally containing? Data sets. That is simply we call it as DB sets, database groups. Now what is this DB set class? DB set class. This acts like a container. To represent a table. That means I want to add, I want to remove. Okay, so here we can use the method add of object. This will add a record to DB set. If I want to remove, simply remove object. These are all methods. Now it will remove from the DB set. Okay, so okay, so what is here? We are using a DB context class, which is acts like a container. Means we are not writing SQL connection.
I'll check my internet connection once for DB set.
Sorry.
I'll check my internet connection. I don't know why it is not connecting. You were one.
Yeah. It's okay. So now we have to write connection is unstable for me. Yes. Okay. So if you are going to represent any primary key columns, all the thing. Now the lambda expressions should come into the picture with the where condition. Okay. So there lambda expressions. That arrow equal to greater than symbols we can use. Lambda expression. So it is for search based queries. Based on any column. Example, I'll tell you simple example. We have taken an array, integer, array name, total numbers equal to new integer. We can take something like 5, 8, 15, something like number. Now I want to filter the data. What are the numbers are greater than 8? Greater than 8 means get numbers greater than 8. So now what we have to do, first we need to repeat for loop. For I equal to 0 to last. And again we have to write inside if condition. If every time whatever value this SNO of I greater than 8, then we can take. Instead of writing all those things, we can just simply write a link query from. You can take any alias name. Alias name is IDs. In. Sorry. In. Where the data is available, the data is available in SNO. SNO. Now select IDs means all will come. Now what we have to do here, where ID is greater than 8. That's it. Now here we can say var result equal to variant type result equal to this. This is what we call as link query. Here we are not writing any for loops, any if conditions, nothing. From any alias, this is anonymous types. We don't want to declare any data type. In where the data is available in SNO array. From that array, bring the data, keep it to IDs. So get the data, select IDs. Before that, I don't want all the numbers. I want the numbers only the number which are greater than 8. So this will be reducing manual coding of for loop as well as if condition, and all these queries are generally select star from table name where condition we are writing in SQL Server. By using link queue, starts with from, anonymous type, in operator is compulsory, source where the data is coming from, and where condition. Now where the data we kept it, that we can apply, and then select whatever the filter data is there, that filter data. So here this is the where is for, we can apply the lambda expression. It is especially using for search the data based on any column. And also here we have a skip method, skip count. How many number of records you want to skip it? So skip count of records. The other one, take, reverse. That is a skip. This is take. And how many number of records you want to return? So return count of records. So there are 3 approaches to work with this ADO.NET Entity framework. So till now, if we have a database, if we have a table, you can write a query, do the program, but not reverse engine, reverse way. Reverse way means through the programmatically, it will create a database, it will create a table, it will create columns. Such type of facility is not there. But now in this model, we have different type of approaches. So we can see there are 3 different approaches. 3 different approaches in ADO.NET Entity Framework. What are the? Number 1, code first approach. And number 2, database first approach. And number 3, model first approach. We will see all the things one by one. What is model first approach? What is code first approach? And what is database first approach? Main thing is, so developer is working on database directly, but whereas here developer will work on classes. Developer working for classes. ADO.NET Entity Framework containing databases, tables on classes is on code first approach. That means we have a class. This class is having coding. ADO.NET, and then tables. This is entity framework. So here we are writing plain coding. Okay. So code first approach, CFA. It can be considered as when application developer should create the database. Code first approach. So when the developer has to create the tables, it will give the flexibility to apply all the data annotations and all. Okay. So what we have to do? We need to create a class, and there we can write all the column names, get to set property procedures, and there we can apply one more class. Which column we have to give as a primary key column, we can assign. Okay, and which table, what columns we need to create, everything in a reverse engine. So code first means what type of database table you want to construct, you have to write a code, and this will be creating in a backend level the related tables and all. Okay.
Shall I download again? Otherwise, I'll download again.
Another ID it was given.
No, it didn't give. It's the same ID, but maybe I'll download again and see.
Okay.
Why it's not connecting?
Let me connect with the TeamViewer because my TeamViewer is collapsing automatically after 5 minutes. Let me check. What is the TeamViewer ID?
1 second. 1 second.
Okay.
You try again. Any desk 275 933 579.
Same only.
రాట్లేదా? Okay. I'll give you TeamViewer.
Yeah, or else I'll give the syntax now and we'll do tonight. Tonight
Okay.
you have, right? Morning for you.
Yeah. Morning is I'm okay,
At
but
least,
1 o'clock I
at
have to
least
go
2
somewhere.
hours or 3 hours we can complete these 3 approaches.
But 1 p.m. I have to go out. So you should. Can you come before that?
Yeah. Anytime. Mine is day time only, right? So you can see once you are ready, then I will take.
Yeah, because I don't want to miss the classes. That's the reason. Your TeamViewer is not connecting. TeamViewer.
What is the ID?
137 371 064.
Okay. Sorry.
And password is small y 8 small e 2 small e.
Only 4.
No, small y 8 2 small e 2 small e 6.
Again, E6.
No, మొత్తం 6 words అంటున్నా. Y8 2E 2E.
Is it showing any authenticating or any box came?
Alert came.
You just click on trustworthy or allow.
Okay, I click trustworthy.
Okay.
So it's not connecting?
Yeah, see, it is showing I cannot establish a connection because it is I think for long 2 years onwards I'm using now. So if I uninstall the operating system, again install them. Only 1 second or 2 seconds. Again, using the maximum sessions, and again you can connect after 10 minutes. Again after 10 minutes, same problem.
Okay,
I'll explain clearly.
Okay.
Yeah. So now working with the code first approach, we need 3 steps. CFA shortcut I'm using. This is the code first approach. Create classes. Example, we need to create a department. Public class DPT. So now every column is a property. Public int, we want ID. That ID we can assign and we are taking back. So get set. And you want to make this one as a primary key. So this is a department ID. We want to make it as a primary key. Then we have to explicitly says that it is a primary key column we want it. So now public int ID, say DPT and department number, get set. So normal column, I want a column like this. Then this is ID. We want this column as a primary key column. Then we have to inform before as key with auto generated number. So this will be going to take this. And we have to use this property other than it requires applying the key attributes. So now we can say primary key with auto generation. So identity column. So that is only primary key, and this will be gives us with primary key auto generator. So now this is the first step. Just what type of table you want, what type of columns you want, and what type of columns are primary keys. Next, what we have to do, we have to create another class. So create a class. Now we have to inherit that one to here. Inheriting DB context class. This should contain properties with return type dbs. How it is public class. Class name is example company DB contest. So you can understand. Okay, the user wants to create a database with these fields DB context. Every database is inheriting from DB context class. So now we are inherited DB context. So what type of things we need to create here? I want a database of like DB set is department. That name is DBPTS. Get set. So it will create as a table within the DB. That name is DBPT. Now what is the third one, like specify the connection. Within web.config file. So 3 steps. Number 1, create the class with properties. Number 2, apply to DB context class, because what type of table information you want to create, this is our class. The class is basically this department. Now this department you have to create in SQL Server. So we can say this is a class with the table name as this we have to create. Now where we need to create, we have to specify the connection string details. So this connection string okay, this is, so we need to require 3 steps. First, to create what type of table you want. Second, you can apply this table to database. Third, you can specify what type of database you want, where the connection string details on that. Then once we run it, it will create automatically one table with the 3 columns. Okay, and I will format the PC now. Then I will check. And